Hi everyone, my name is G-boyz, and last video I did on the reacting, I did 3 disturbing basement stories. Today we're gonna be watching 3 creepy, true, attic stories. Again, from Mr. Nightmare, and if I'll put his, again I'll put the video description, or yeah, the video and his Mr. Nightmare's channel in the description, in case you want to watch the third one, because like last time, I'm only going to go through 2 of those, and usually the last one I watch off camera. So anyways, let's get right into this. Pausing it right there, I forgot to freaking turn down my volume. Jesus Christ. Okay, I kind of want to skip the anonymouses, so then, where's the anonymous? If my bar would load, I could do it. So, I'm gonna listen to one anonymous, and then one of these guys. Oh god. Story 1. Oh, wait, here it is. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna estimate, like, right now. Yeah. I'm just gonna go along with it. Let's just start over. I'm just gonna watch it.
It was an ordinary evening like any other.
Apparently this video doesn't want us to have quietness. I just got back and I'm already jitterish.
I was in my room watching TV while my mom was downstairs making dinner.
Of course you were. Like every other normal kid, they sit in the room. Is that a computer? Oh, okay, I guess you're watching. Okay.
I had my door shut as I usually did because I like my privacy.
Yeah.
My room actually connected to the attic, because technically my room was never meant to be a bedroom, but it was made into one since I was one of 4 kids. So oftentimes I would hear little cracks in the ceiling just because the attic was right above my room.
You see, it would be a lot more creepier if he, later in this video, said that it was right above where he sleeps, like right where that bed is. I wouldn't want the room, because I would just be afraid to look up and see a creepy smile coming down from the roof.
And there were heavy boxes putting constant pressure on the ceiling, so I was a little used to it. But there was one crack that was just too loud. So loud that it actually made me jump. I almost wanted to pull the attic door down and go up there, but I gave it the benefit of the doubt and assumed it was just pressure. That and the fact that I was also scared to go up there.
Yeah, I would too.
I was scared of that attic my entire childhood, and I hated having it connected to my room. During dinner, I told my mom about the abnormally loud crack and expressed my fear to her. She told me there's nothing up there besides boxes, junk, and mice. She followed the mice part up with a smile to let me know she was kidding.
When your mother smiles after they just assume that it's the mice, you obviously know, especially when it's coming from the attic, you obviously know that there's a ghost up there or a freaking monster. Or likely just a hoe that they stashed up there for safekeeping.
The rest of the night after dinner, I stayed in my room watching TV and playing video games. Even after everyone went to bed, I was still playing, deep into the night. I had the volume lower so that I wouldn't wake anyone up. We had paper-thin walls in that house. I thought I heard another crack in the ceiling. Not as loud as the one from earlier, but still concerning enough to make me pause the game and listen.
No.
There was nothing now. I was having a bit of an adrenaline rush, so I grabbed the stepladder and pulled down the attic door.
Swear to God, when was this actually posted? Because if it was posted, if this story is connected to like fall or something like that, then it's probably like a creepy clown that snuck into the attic. Honestly.
There was no light up there. You just had to use a flashlight to navigate.
Oh.
I didn't go in though. I just peeked my head in through the opening. There was nothing I could see except piles on top of piles of boxes. So it seemed like it really was just the weight of one of the boxes putting pressure in the ceiling.
I hope it was. Honestly.
I planned on telling my mom that we should check it out the next day. I was a bit relieved as I went back to playing video games. I turned the game off about an hour later and finally decided to go to sleep. After a while, though, I started to hear something from above me. It wasn't the regular cracks I was used to hearing.
That honestly sounds like when I used to live in an old farmhouse, and whenever someone's upstairs, since the floorboards are like very creaky and whatnot, I used to hear my parents or my brother like just that what you just heard right now. So either this is not gonna end well.
These were more like thumps. They were constant and moving.
Yeah, that sounds like someone's walking up there.
It literally sounded like footsteps. The thump stopped right above the attic door.
That's when you gotta get out of your room, get your parents, call the police, and likely lock yourself in a box for the rest of your life.
And there was silence. I stared at that attic door so intently, waiting for something to happen. But when I saw the door slowly begin to lift, it didn't feel real.
Oh! I know it's just showing pictures, but I don't want the sound effects.
Even though I was expecting something to happen, I wasn't prepared for the door to actually open. I got out of bed as quietly as I could and tiptoed to my mom's room.
Boy, I would have been making so much racket, I'd be screaming. I wouldn't be tiptoeing like friggin' boogeyman. I'd be running to her room, screaming, there's a hobo up in my attic trying to kill me. Like, jeez.
When I explained,
like
she nudged me to stay in her room as she left to get my brothers.
Oh, God.
After a minute of waiting in silence, I heard a commotion from my room. It was my two older brothers yelling aggressively, and my mom screaming at them to come here. Apparently whoever was in the attic was gone though, because both of my brothers went up there and didn't find anyone. My mom also heard the noises in the attic, but didn't know what to think of it until I came and told her about the door opening.
God.
I didn't hear any noises anymore after that day, except for the usual occasional cracks in the ceiling.
You know, I think, leave in the comments down below what you think happened. I either think, A, it was a brother who was just sitting up there trying to scare the crap out of him, because that's what they usually probably do. But they probably both of them will be up there or something like that. I don't know. Or B, there's something. B, if like that was fully opened, since that did say they checked up there. Something probably snuck out and jumped out his window or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it was just mice, overgrown mice. Okay, story 2. Good God.
For a while I rented out a small single-family house in a town close to my job. It was only a temporary thing. I only planned on being there for a few months at most. The landlord was hard to get along with because he seemed off, so that didn't help things really.
Oh, this is great.
It was the first week of my being there. Since it was just me living in the house, I didn't need a lot of space to store things. The house did have an attic, but I never felt the need to go up there.
You see, if this was his actual house and he took a picture of it, if you see anything up in that window, call the police, please.
I just stored mostly everything in either the garage, the spare rooms, or the closets. Not that there was much living space, though. One day, though, I did kind of want to see how much space was up there, so I tried to pull the attic door down, but it didn't budge. Then I noticed there was a tiny lock on the attic door. I was never given a key by the landlord, so the next day I called him and asked about the lock. He told me the attic was off limits and was never included in the price of rents. I wasn't exactly sure if he could legally do that, but I was paying a good price and I didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't do that, but I mean, you would want to sound like I don't think you guys would want to sound like a crazy person. Say there's a ghost up there that probably murdered like 10 people who own this land. So I need the money.
The next morning, I went to my fridge to grab some milk and then the cereal from the cabinet. As I took the cap off the milk carton, I questioned if the amount of milk in the carton had gone down. Surely I hadn't drank that much. Had I?
No, you have.
I guess I took a late-night trip to the kitchen that I didn't remember.
Oh, it's the hobo, actually. Watch.
The next morning, as usual, I came to the kitchen to have breakfast. Everything seemed to be normal, but come lunchtime, it seemed like some of my cold cuts were missing.
Hobo in your attic, right there. Yep, problem solved. You gotta get that man out of your attic, please.
I had to start to wonder if I was going crazy or if something was actually going on here. Why did it seem like some of my food was disappearing every day?
'Cause the hobo in your attic and or your landlord is stealing it.
I actually started to look into buying a camera system for the house on the Best Buy website.
Yeah, you should.
I did some research on cameras before going to sleep. That night I woke up around 4 and really had to pee. I tried to hold it and just sleep it off, but the urge was too much, so I eventually got out of bed to head to the bathroom. But on the way to the bathroom is the attic door in the hallway, and at first I thought I was seeing things, but after rubbing my eyes, I could see that the attic door was really open. All that ran through my mind were the words, "What the fuck?"
All that ran through my mind was, it's a hobo.
There was a pull-down ladder leading up to the attic. I had to see what was up there.
No!
I took a bright, heavy-duty flashlight from my room and went up there. The flashlight was so bright, it lit up a huge chunk of the attic.
I hope it did.
It was a very big attic for the size of the house. I was surprised. But what surprised me even more was the twin bed tucked away in one corner of the attic, with a clothing hamper next to it. There were also clothes scattered all over the attic.
It's the hobo. I told you, tried to warn you, you didn't listen. He snuck down, I'm sorry to say, but he snuck down, took your clothes, the other people living there. I'm sorry to say.
But perhaps most disturbing was the TV mounted on the wall that had my bedroom on display.
What?
I guess I hadn't noticed the light from the TV screen because I was holding the flashlight the whole time. But I knew I had to get out of the house. But someone was at the entrance.
Hold on. Oh, dear God. Entrance of your house?
Entrance of the attic now, by the attic door. First, only their head was visible.
It's the hobo. I told you. He's angry now. You found out his plan. Now he has to move, find somewhere else to stay. You goofed it.
But their bodies slowly emerged into the attic until they were crawling towards me. I was able to distinguish the face to be that of the landlord.
No.
His expression was so dry and emotionless, it still haunts me to this day.
I frigging knew it. It was the hobo and or the landlord. Wait, the landlord is the hobo. He needed the money for McDonald's and that TV. Oh, he's sneaky.
As he crawled over to me, his eyes open wide, he kept putting one finger to his lips as he said, "Shh." He didn't speak any words. He only went, "Shh, shh." It was a miracle that I was able to get around him in time before he could get to me. I went down the ladder and pushed it up, closing the attic door. I knew he would be out shortly, so I took my phone from the nightstand and ran for it. I ran outside and called the police. The landlord wasn't there when the police arrived, but I had all of his information, and he was found the next day at his brother's house in a nearby rundown town. I moved to an apartment 2 days later, and when I plan on buying a house, I know now I'm going to avoid any houses with attics.
I'm questioning now. Does my house have an attic? I'm not sure. That is actually all for this video. On a level of 1 to 10, down the description and whatnot, I'll probably say how spooky the third one is. But obviously, you should go watch this if you want to find out what happens in the next horror story. This has been G-boyz. If you want, you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and poke that notification bell if you want. I'm not forcing you to. You can if you want. But I will see you all later.